Hello and welcome to Scoping Out Tools, and today I'm going to be having a look at this plane that I bought for £3. It's a Stanley SB3. It is available online as new for about £30. I'm going to give it a clean up and see what it's like to use. It's a lot lighter than my other plane, which is this one. I am going to be looking a bit at this in more detail later on. Might not be in this video, but basically I've just learned about adjusting the frog, and this one I don't think actually has it. So let's take it apart and let's give it a bit of a clean up. As you can see, it's fairly dirty. Okay, so first things first, you can see there's a lot of rust, and I'm going to be giving that a clean up. I think that feels sticky, so I think there's it might just not be, it might have been used from other parts. So I'm gonna take off this. It seems hand tight, and let's just see how much I need to. No, so there looks to be that I do need to adjust that screw slightly. It might just all be a little bit sticky. That's off here. Now the actual blade itself. I've not seen a blade that shape before, so we'll have a little look at that. There doesn't appear to be a guard on it, so I think that might be where the single blade comes from. And I'm not sure what these screws are to actually do. I don't know if this is to actually adjust the height of it. It must be to adjust the height. So yeah, so we'll have a little look at these. I don't know if I want to take off this, but it's plastic or something similar with this. This is plastic, but it's all Phillips screws. So let's see about giving this bit of a clean off. And first of all, I might just use a little bit of a sort of like a monster wipe thing. So let me just jump for that. I am not completely convinced with these wipes, but they did get some of the grime off. So you can see that I'm just wiping it down. Sorry about the close-up shots, but like that's just the position of the camera. I wasn't entirely sure where I would position the camera itself. So I decided to actually remove the handles. All of them were just the standard flathead screw, giving everything else a wipe off. It wasn't a very detailed clean. I probably could have actually attacked it with a toothbrush or some cotton buds or something like that, but for the purpose of this, it was actually looking cleaner even with just that little bit of a wipe down the blade as well, but I was going to be polishing that up later. So now I'm going to remove the rust, and this is when I went and grabbed the steel wool. Now this steel wool is actually used, I'm using it with a little bit of vinegar as well, and that is actually used for dyeing my wood pen in one of the other videos. The biggest difficulty here was just getting at the very corners of it, but it started to come out fairly easy, and you can already see how much the rust is getting removed with it. When I started looking at the underneath, I sort of realised that I would have to actually plane it off on a flat piece of wood. So I heard that laminate's a good thing to do that. So after giving it a quick clean, this is when I prepared to actually set up polishing it down. Okay, so I've got a nice flat surface now, which I probably should have done in the main video. Yeah, so nice and flat. So I'm now going to just use a bit of so yeah, as you can see, I've got to remove some of this just now. I'm going to go back to it anyway. but for now I'm wanting to just get this flattened down. I think one of the easiest ways to possibly do this is to actually use this flat piece and a bit of grit paper. I'm not sure what one I'll go for. I might go for 400 initially. I'm not sure if I have to actually stick this down, but we'll give it a try. I might even just be able to stick it down with water. But what I'm going to do is just put these back on. I think it is on. No, it's still a bit of movement. Okay, and then this one on here. Oh, that is magnetic, is it? There. That should. I might even be able to just wet it to give it a bit of adherence. If not, I'll glue it down. So let me just get. So this is actually a hone right, which I've used for sharpening blades. So I'm just putting a little bit on here, so that will stick it, and I'll put a little bit on there just to see it. And let's just check. So before it starts, the grit paper is video up at the top left hand corner, and I'm using actually a diamond stone on the main video. The grit paper, I was just going through too much of it. By the time I sort of spent a couple of minutes, it was done, and there was so much stuff to remove. I probably should have started with a much heavier grit. I did actually eventually switch to a sandpaper to actually see if that would do, but the paper quality of the sandpaper, as soon as it got a little bit wet, it just went and just tore. That might just be because I bought cheap sandpaper though. The diamond stone was working a lot better though. Like it's obviously it stays like it stays much more like it doesn't get used up, because obviously the diamond needs to actually come out of the matrix. However, it made it a little bit more difficult because obviously I've got a shorter distance to actually work on, because I didn't want to round off any of the edges. And I am spraying it with hone right, so that's basically a compound that is added to some water, which avoids your metal plate from rusting. These are actually trend diamond plates. 300 on one side, 1000 on another, and I've got a little rubber stick that I'm actually using to actually remove all the little bits of metal that might have formed in between the diamond and might have covered it up, making it less efficient to do it. I'd got the sole of the plane as flat as I wanted it to go. I could have spent a lot longer polishing it, but time was getting on and I wanted to do a few other things on the afternoon. So I moved over to the actual blade itself, and this is me just flattening the blade as much as possible, trying to get everything polished flat. Wasn't 100% happy with that either, but I can always go back and re-polish it. I knew it wouldn't be affecting the cutting part of the blade though, and that's the key bit, because it's only the very edge that I'm going to be cutting with. So as long as I've got it flat at the last like couple of mils on the back side, and then on the sharp side I only need a couple of mils for it to be on the bevel to actually slice through the wood. So this is actually, I should say, this is me following basically what I've learnt from Rob Cosman, or my interpretation of what I've learnt from Rob Cosman. Because obviously this is based on just watching his videos, but you can see that it's actually a similar sharpening setup that he suggested in his sharpening videos. However, I am also doing this much higher. I do have a lower table for the sharpening, but this is me now just, see I've got a ruler there, and that's me just flattening off the back edge so that I've got it nicely flat, so that when I start sharpening the curved side, I can actually feel when a burr starts to appear. And I'm just about ready to actually do the setup for the sharpening itself, with the fitting the bevels, or sorting out the sitting on the bevels, raising it slightly to get a little bit of an edge, and then raising it a bit more to put the final edge on. Let's see about putting an edge on it now. So, sake cup test. So in a minute, sake cup. Okay, so I can actually cut to it, but I can't. Yeah, so I'm getting a slice already. So it does have an edge. See how it is? So it does have an edge. So now what I want to do is get a better edge. So let's switch over. So that's the first bevel. Just about feel that bevel come up. Can just about feel that burr come up. Okay, let's get out the. Let's get out the bigger stone, the glass stone. Now I did flatten this the last time I used it. And it got the foreign marks, but it's all up. Look, can you see that alright? Yeah. First bevel, second bell, third bell. A little bit of this. Okay. Sake cup. Oh yeah, it's not perfect, but it does for now. Right, so I have my plane and my different parts. So first of all, let's put a little spring on it here. So it'll be this way around. And I'm just gonna so I'm thinking that what I'm doing is I am bringing this back using these wheels until this so I'm just trying to eyeball it. And let's lock that one in place now. Okay. Now, that for me is protruding too much. So let's see, can I actually pull that back? That's too far forward now. Okay, I think that's just appearing. Okay, I'm going to just take that a bit back. Okay, I think that's even there, so let's lock that in place. And let's see, is this too low or too high? Couple passes. I'm just going to get a little bit of wax for this. I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got a bit of lubricant wax. I do have a wax stick, I just can't find it. So let's just put a little bit of this on the bottom. That should actually help it slide over. Yeah, so I think, let me just close this up. Okay, so let me just, okay. I'm gonna just try that again. As if I could use a candle actually, but that might be a bit better. Last bit was a bit more liquid. There's quite a gap for it, but let's just. That's better. I think I might be a bit too thick though. So let's just. That's right. That's a bit better. There you go. That's a lot nicer. So maybe I'll just too low down and not getting a continuous strip yet. So let me just see what side it's cutting on. So I think it is cutting more on this side. So if I put that down now. Okay, that's coming along. So, I'm not a expert at planing. I'm learning. But let's just one more try. Which yeah. Okay. We have shavings. We have a nicely polished plane. We actually have nice smooth wood without the need for sanding. And this was £3. I've seen it, I've had a little look, and on eBay you probably would be spending £5 to £10. You can get it brand new from Amazon for about £30. Why would you go for £30 on this when you can go for a second-hand one? And this was about 45 I think I spent on this one. I'm a complete beginner, but one major thing I find is this is about a third of the weight or a quarter of the weight. It's much lighter. So if you are somebody that actually struggles with the weight of tools, this could be a good alternative if you're actually finding wood planes quite heavy. So thank you very much for watching as I did more scoping out tools. Bye for now.